Okay, here we are, Talking Heads episode 2. Before we get started, it is only right to properly introduce a man who does not merely plan events, he foresees them. A man who does not guess at outcomes, he calmly informs reality about what is going to happen and how it's going to happen. Joining us today is the seer of seers, the prognosticator of prognosticators, the man who looks at limited land, limited time, limited resources and says, yes, we can have a race here and it will be glorious. Jyire Mitchell somehow knows which problems are coming, which ones can be ignored, and which ones will magically resolve themselves. Organizer and instigator, this is Jyire. He's here to talk about the Coney Island Pink Sands Scramble and explain how chaos becomes a race day success. How are you, Jai?
I'm good.
Doing well, doing well. All right, so getting right into it. I guess we may as well not play around. But how did you end up being the person that put the Coney Island Scramble together in Bermuda?
Um, just me racing, going overseas to different countries, doing different series, and I guess being Bermudian, so you get to see different promoters, and I don't know, bringing it back home to Bermuda.
But let's face it. I mean, the last time they raced at Coney Island, you were just out of diapers, weren't you? When was the last time that you got to race at Coney Island prior to this whole thing?
I think it was 23 years ago last year, so maybe three, four, something like that.
So what makes you go, okay, well, you raced a place when you were 3 or 4 years old, and you guys have a purpose built motocross track and all that sort of stuff. What makes you go, hey, I want to put a race on back at this place that we haven't been to for 23 years?
Um, Being Bermudian, we only have one track, and everyone complains about riding the same track all year round. So it was more of just solving a problem than having a race back somewhere. That was just the place that we might be able to get, and yeah, went from there.
So what does that process look like going to the government and all that sort of stuff? How long does that take you to go from idea to inception?
Um, it was my first time dealing with the government, so I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, and what channels and what ministries, for example, I would have to go through. So it was longer than I expected. I say years.
So a couple of years to get the event off the ground.
Um, yeah, it was a slow process, but I would say some of it was on my end as well, just not knowing where to go and lack of direction from the people around me of to say this, and this. So yeah, it was a while.
So was this always the plan to run events, or is it just you decided to do something and then all of a sudden a couple of months into it, well, now you run events for a living? Is that how it went, and is this what you do the majority of the time now?
Well, Coney Island was supposed to happen in 2019, so my plan then is different than my plan now. My plan then was I was going pro and I was doing Lorados and all of that. Um, and I just didn't see a way possible to race Supercross and outdoors for free or on salary, even though my results at Lorados were pretty good. So I thought this race would bring a spotlight to Bermuda, and then I could use that to race Supercross and maybe Canada Triple Crown. So that's kind of my goal back then to support my racing. Um, but COVID happened and that kind of got shut down. And yeah.
So what is the goal now? I mean, you're obviously, I mean, everyone's getting older. It's not just you. Everyone, the years are ticking on, and that 2019 goal has now turned into a 2026 goal. So is that is this something that gonna keep going? Do you have Is that something that the plan is to maybe you can do more events that are similar to this?
Um, of course, the ideas are fluent, and I have a good team around me to keep me grounded on what is possible and what's not possible or feasible. Um, I think right now our goal is just to cement down Coney Island. We done a big leap last year to this year. Doing 2 days just to prove that we could do it. It's a new goal, obviously, because like you said, the time difference is 7 years different. So my life goal, racing goals are different. Coney Island kind of has a different purpose now. I think is because how Bermuda is, you have to be spoon fed of baby steps. So I can't just say in my head I know that Coney Island would work, but no one else could see your vision. So to do it the first time and prove it, it's like you won, but are you a winner? Um,
Yeah.
to the baby step again or doing it again, it's like, all right, well, it happened. Let's slowly make it bigger and bigger, which is kind of frustrating, but it's life.
So what's the reception after the? I mean, what are we? We're coming up on 3 weeks after the second round that you had, the second event. So, is there still talk on the island of the Coney Island event, or is it kind of, moved on already and gone back to regularly scheduled programming, or what?
I still got some buzz. It's still laughter. It was still, you know, how it goes. But Bermuda is fast paced as well, so we're about to move on to the next thing soon. So it's still fresh in people's minds, but we're moving on fast.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you guys have got the powerboat season coming up, so that's going to be a big ticket item for obviously Bermuda. How many more races does the Bermuda Motocross Club have?
I think they have maybe 3 more months of racing, so I'm not sure how much exactly race days that is.
Okay, okay. And knowing that Bermuda is small and not exactly built for motorsport, how do you make the event happen without upsetting half the island, or do you just go ahead and upset half the island and know that that's going to be how it is?
Um, my original proposal was because 2019 and now was so far in between. I had a lot of time to tweak my proposal, to mitigate some of the clears or concerns that certain sectors of Bermuda had. A big concern from the environmentalists was disrupting the birds. So we had to work around that. Or, hey, we're following the walking path so that we don't cut down no trees, so that the birds aren't disrupted. And, you try to be respectful to the park and your time at the park. We created a small footprint, I believe. We kept the noise down to 2 days from 9 to 4. The pedestrians or spectators were limited to certain areas of the park. Certain areas we didn't um, go close to. Most of that's coastal and around the pond. But it's hard to keep everybody happy, but we try our best to at least learn from our mistakes. Like, I think, give you a little insight of this year, we learned that seeding the park would probably be in place if we go again next year, just to make the grass grow back faster. That would just stop for when cars come in. Maybe they leave a rut. So small tweaks to make us better, but you're never gonna keep everybody happy.
Yeah, exactly. And I did see the news article there where the environmentalists were complaining, and that's what they do. And I kind of did have something to say about that. I see your response was, you know, pretty well from my side, pretty well thought out and that sort of stuff. But it always kind of grinds my gears when the environmentalists complain rather than go down and go, this thing's happening. Let's work together and make it a success, not only for the island, but for the environment. They tend to just run to the newspapers or run to the media and complain about it instead of, working with the people putting it on. Because I understand motocross bikes tear the ground up. It's just what they do. But tearing the ground up is not necessarily a bad thing. It gives you a chance to till, gives you a chance to seed. It gives the place, water, uh, uh, a chance for the water to be caught rather than just run off and tear up the island. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I've been part of plenty of tracks that are one offs, and they improve the environment. Obviously, it's a little bit of a disruption as the event's going on, but the long term plan is to improve the environment. And I give you kudos for your actual retort in the media about the environmental and their complaints. I think it was well said. So yeah, that's always going to be a thing, is the challenges.
Yeah. That wasn't planned. That was right off the track, just fresh. I don't know. I guess it was well said, but some things I wish I did speak on, but I would like to know. They were concerned about the soil erosion of the bikes, obviously, but we trucked in so much mulch to go on top of the ground is like insane. So we tried to mitigate all the concerns they had, and that was one of them. So we trucked in mulch and put it around most of the track just to reduce that. So you know they have concerns. We try to answer them. No one's reached out to me or anyone in my team to say we want to learn or anything, which is I don't know.
Well, that's always the disappointment, is they'd rather complain to the media than reach out to, make the thing better. And, I mean, it is what it is. There's no point beating a dead horse over it. But yeah, I think you did well. But moving on. So, who are these events really for? Are you mostly trying to give people a fun place to ride, or are you trying to, you know, quietly build better riders on the island? How do you decide where that line sits on um, helping Bermuda and Bermuda's riders and bringing in international people?
See, that's a sticky question because it's like multi-layered. Because obviously you want to get the riders better. I mean, you think of majority of Bermuda youth riders that haven't left Bermuda and raced have rode one track, which has no elevation. It's the same dirt consistency all the time. So you want to develop that without shocking them, and then that in turn comes with the talent that you bring. You don't want to bring talent that's shocking again and discouraging. You also don't want to bring talent that the spectators are complaining that's not good enough. So it's a hard line to find. Definitely, it's like but as far as the goal for the event, it's a mixture of everything. Bermuda has a little problem with different parishes getting along, so that's a big part of it as well. Of just having a cohesive event with all parishes being welcome without incident. The kids got a new track to ride. We gave them two tracks this year, so two tracks. Um, it's a bit of everything. I would like to turn it into something bigger, but you know, we have to baby step. We have to crawl before we run.
And speaking of the track, I know your Coney Island's pretty restrictive. So next year, first, is there a plan to run an event for next year?
That's the plan. That's the plan to do this long term. We're not too greedy on the amount of times a year. I think we've figured out that this might be the best schedule, back to back weekends. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, we're not too deep in our plans yet. Just because we're on the backside of evaluating 25, 26. So I'm still right in the middle of the process, to be honest.
So I guess getting to the original crux of the question is, you know, Coney Island being pretty restrictive and pretty small, are you kind of restricted to running essentially the same track, every year, but whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, but it's essentially on the same walking tracks that you've always run? I mean, there's not a lot of room on Coney Island to go, oh, this year we're going to go up and around, this other tree or something like that. What does that look
Mhm.
like?
So 24, we so yes, you have to follow the walking path. 24, we followed the walking path, but we made adjustments this year that made the track way better. I don't think we're limited to amount of tracks. I think we had 3 different tracks in 2 years. I think next year, if everything works out, we would have 5 different tracks in what's that 3 years. So I think the track's easy to change. Obstacles change the track a lot. I'm pretty creative with track design, and the people around me are as well. So I don't think that would even be a problem, especially because most of these guys have ridden one track majority of the time.
Yeah, that's always a good selling point is if the track's never going to be the same, then, you could very well say, that the only time the track's going to be like this on Coney Island is this year. If you miss this event, then you're not ever going to get to ride this track again because, obviously you tear it up and turn it back into an island for the rest of the island. That sounds weird, but a place for the rest of the island to go and hang out. So, you know, that's one of the attractions to Loretta's. Let's face it, Loretta's isn't an amazing motocross track, but the fact that it's only there for a week out of every year is kind of one of the draw cards of, hey, if I don't get a chance to ride it this year, I might not ever get a chance to ride it.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we're gonna try lean on. Just brand new track every time. Um, we definitely will be going clockwise and anti-clockwise, but as far as a new track, I think we'll be able to do that for as long as we have it. To be honest, I think.
Yeah, that's perfect. So a couple of times you've mentioned, the team that you've got hanging out or working with you and helping behind the scenes. Every event has those two or three people you can't lose. Who are they for you, and what, if they did go missing, disappear in the Bermuda Triangle or whatever happens down there, what kind of chaos does that bring to the event?
I feel like everybody is very important in the NV. Um, we have so many hands that help. From I think the first year we maybe had a team of like 7, and then this year it's turned into closer to 40. I think, which is just a lot
Wow.
of hands. Yeah, we do have a core team, obviously, but we expanded that next circle of more heads, more ideas. Um, from my parents doing a lot. Shakai takes a lot of headaches from me of just me running ideas from him, and his probably doesn't want to hear it. Warren, my brother Malik, Saki, Kendi. I mean, it's so much different people. Brian, Preston, Red. It's like I I literally couldn't even. I would have to go in the group chat and list off 40 people and say
Yeah,
these
yeah,
names
yeah. No,
because everyone
that,
has it.
and I know Jai's going to apologize, but I apologize as well. It's really hard to come up with a list of names on the spot. So if you've been missed, there's no harsh sides
If you
from
got missed,
Jai that are
you
saying,
ain't
yeah,
missed.
you weren't mentioned.
No man. Yeah, it's everyone's a help, honestly, because everyone comes with different ideas and different points to help with. To be honest.
So without getting into it and without ruffling any feathers, I know that there's a little bit of let's say friendly competition with the Coney Island event and the motocross club down there at Southside, but um, is there people that refuse to show up? And you don't have to name names, but are there people that refuse to show up because you're holding an event that's not at Southside, or does everyone pretty much understand that hey, it's a new place to ride and it's a new track that they're probably not going to get to ride again, and they show up and support.
Um, yeah, I feel like everyone has these same concerns in Bermuda. Well, problem in Bermuda, we got to ride one track, so everyone took advantage to ride. I wouldn't say there's no competition between us and Bermuda Motocross at all. To be honest, I think it's just. I'll be honest. I think people confuse this and myself as the same thing. They confuse Jyire Mitchell and Pink Sand Scrambling as the same thing. So I had this plan, like I said, from 2019 to race. I haven't raced in Bermuda since I left Bermuda. It wasn't on purpose. It was by design, but not on purpose. I was willing to race. Um, Down south side, I just wanted to be involved with the plan. What are we doing? How are we doing it? What it looks like? That's all. But I didn't race, and I held that leverage to race Coney Island in 2019 at a race that we put on. It just didn't happen, and I didn't race from then until it happened. So I think some people might be like, "Oh well, he doesn't race in Bermuda. Why does he not?" Maybe that just answered it. But yeah,
Yeah, and I, I'm not going to say that I don't feel you, because I grew up in a small town in Western Australia, and I wanted not necessarily bigger things, but different things, and I went away and raced, all over the place, and there was definitely people at the club that I grew up racing at, and tried to help build that. Frowned upon that, and sometimes it is what it is. But I hope. Well, I don't hope. I know that the event will continue to grow and flourish and attract more people, and I hope that the Bermuda Motocross Club and Association, see that and work off the back of it and work with you and help it to develop their own track and their own facilities and their own club. And I know that there's more people show up to the Coney Island event than show up to a regular race day down at Southside, and that's not saying that they're doing a bad event or a bad job or anything. It's just the fact. So I hope they grab a hold of that and go to those people and say, hey, we'll form a class for you, or we'll cater to you a little bit more or something, and make it more fun and attract those riders. They're there, obviously.
yeah, no, Sosa's doing a good job there. I'll be honest. The tracks got better. They have more material. Got a youth program in place. They're growing. They're definitely evolving. Yeah,
I know when I went and built the track down there, or helped build the track in I think it was 2011, Dennis Correa and Gannon were instrumental in bringing a whole bunch of material down there. I don't know where they brought it from, but they must have upset some people, because they brought in truckload after truckload of dirt and new material to make the track and make the obstacles better. But you have that location of it's going to erode and disappear over time, and a little bit of dust, and it's not going to blow to somewhere where you can retrieve it from. It's going to blow into the ocean. So you're going to constantly lose material as you bring it in there. But they very restricted in the area they have, obviously, and the shape of it. But there's potential to do some good stuff at that track.
yeah. The track has great upside for potential. I think they're doing a good job down there with what they have. Um, Seems to be everyone likes the new track. I haven't ridden the new track. I do plan on riding the new track this year. Just trying to get Coney Island behind me. But yeah,
How
um,
much how much work have you got left to wrap up Coney Island until you figure you're comfortable with what you've left everyone?
it's really just the prize presentation to be done, my evaluations in, couple more emails, couple more meetings. So maybe like I'm done the hard part. It's just meetings and emails now.
Okay, so fast forward a couple of years. If we're sitting here in 5 years doing this interview again, what needs to have changed for you to say, yeah, this was worth it? Is there anything that stands out and you feel you need to accomplish something to make it all worthwhile, or are you, hey, I'm 2 years in, I know what I'm doing, and this is a great event, or are there things that you wish you could check off the list?
I think that's hard to say because the girl before I had it was different than the girl from last year, and the girl this year is different from last year. So I think it's growing with the event. Um, 5 years. What would I say? I know a big thing would be vertical integration for sure. That's like one of my main focuses right now, which is just everything that comes with Coney Island being in house pretty much. So whether that's truck and mulch, picking up the barricades, machines, it all comes with stuff. Lap scores instead of transponder lines, small stuff like just building the foundation of the event and then expanding. So I would say in 5 years, if everything is fundamentally done correctly, I would be happy. Outside of that, the other goals that I have for the movable goals, I think very movable. I would say, hey, I would like to take the winner of the most valuable rider to Daytona or something like that. Those are movable goals. Maybe it turns from 1 to 5 or to 10. But yeah, I would just say having the foundation of the event better.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So there was one thing, I spoke to Shikai a lot before you guys were putting the event on and everything, and he hit me up looking for international riders and stuff like that. So the one thing, and I could be totally wrong. I'm not trying to tell anyone they're doing anything wrong, but what does it move the needle in Bermuda to have an amazing rider show up compared to just Bermudians riding on Coney Island? Like, let's say, I'm not going to say a Jeremy McGrath or anyone like that, but let's say you get a top 20 AMA rider to show up and race Coney Island. Does that bring a lot more spectators to the event than you would normally get, or are the spectators going to pretty much show up regardless of who's racing?
I think foreign competition always brings an extra couple of people. The break even on that, I don't know. Um, I do know that we wouldn't know the difference between a fifth place AMA rider and a 30th place AMA rider. Just the off the masses that watch Supercross, like I don't think 200 people in Bermuda know who Ty Massapool is. So it's all the same, pretty much. It's just I couldn't tell you what's the break even, how much people extra will come because a name brand person's coming.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point. And again, I'm not telling anyone how to run an event; it's your event. But I was kind of talking to Shikai and saying, if you get a name brand person or a name person from the AMA, and they bring an extra 20 people, that's or an extra 20 spectators, isn't enough people to move the needle and pay for the amount of money that you paid that rider to come over. It's a lot more headache for zero gain.
Yeah. We was just well for us is that the break even, of course, because it comes with flight accommodation, renting a bike, whatever the expenses are, but also the time restraint. We was only given about 4.5 weeks from approval to race day. So then you narrow your pyramid down on riders, and then it gets even smaller because we're around the Christmas time. No one wants to travel, and then Supercross is early January, so everyone's on the West Coast. So it just narrows the pyramid down on riders and who we can get extremely because of the time frame. But I agree. I feel like somebody like a Pastrana or who else? Maybe a Ronnie Mac. Somebody like that would definitely bring an extra 50 people.
Yeah, and with a bit of a heads up, I'm sure you can organise something like that. I know that I reached out to some friends in Europe, and I mean, we could have had some huge names come, but the time frame was, not enough time frame, and they'd already organised to go to Spain and train, and already organised Christmas and New Year and all that sort of stuff with family and friends. So, given a bit of a heads up, I'm sure you can come up with a big name rider and big name people and come down. And the other, again, I don't want to get into telling you how to do a thing, but the other issue that you're going to have is, let's face it, Coney is not a legit motocross track. It's going to be something that will kind of even the playing field when you have, let's say you have a big name show up there. It's a tight and twisty track, and there's a good chance that a good rider, someone like yourself or Jonah or something like that, if they pull the whole shot, they they have a good chance of winning the race as well, regardless of who shows up.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No?
Because I don't think so. I think a track's a track. It's not. If they could ride a bike, I think they'll be able to ride. I think it only affects the people that don't really get to ride different terrains and different tracks. I think any European, American, they ride so much different tracks it wouldn't even affect them. I think. I think someone that I could beat her, I could beat away. I don't think they would come here and be shell shocked.
Yeah, but let's face it, no one that's coming from the AMA or the MXGP is used to riding with some steel grate right alongside of the track as a fence.
Very true.
I see some video of, I think it was actually you jumping through and almost landing on the steel fence at the side of the track. I mean, obviously you got enough talent to miss it and make the adjustment, but most people are not used to that kind of restriction and claustrophobic kind of a track. There's a lot of runoffs um, on pretty much anywhere else.
I don't know. Don't go into the fence and don't go into the trees. I don't know.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so anything else you want to throw out there? Anything that anyone that you want to thank, or any tidbits you want to give for next year's event?
I would like to thank everyone. Firstly, it would be way too much people to name off the top of my head, but thank you guys. Um, I think we're trying to go again next year. We're not sure about the dates. We're trying to lock down a permanent date. Um, just depends with these next couple of meetings and everything. But yeah, we're definitely looking to get more foreign riders in a range of classes and just try to grow the event, get some live stream, scaffolding, possibly. Let's see.
All right, sounds perfect. So I guess we'll wait to hear from you about when those dates will be thrown out there, and everyone can look forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Jai. We will get this uploaded as soon as we can, and get everyone some information about Coney Island 2025, 2026, and what's coming for the future. Appreciate your
All right.
time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.